Hi, everyone, and welcome to Boom Chat. This week, we're talking to Dan Panosian, Marianna Ignazzi, and Fabiana Mascolo, the amazing team that's bringing you an Unkindness of Ravens. Not all the witches burned during the Salem Witch Trials, and the ones that survived did so together, protecting the ancient secrets entrusted to them for generations. They call themselves the Ravens. Wilma is the new girl in school, and she plans to go completely unnoticed, except that she bears an eerie resemblance to Waverly, a member of the Ravens who just went missing. The truth behind Waverly's disappearance will put the entire coven in danger, and Wilma will have to rely on power she never knew she had if she wants to save her friends. Okay, so Dan, I read the first issue and I have to be honest, I need more, I want more, oh my goodness, how did you come up with this story?
Well, I love the occult. I love everything about like witches and all that Salem witch trial lore. I mean, I've read about it since I was a kid, and I don't know, a lot of people in the States and probably all around the world. I mean, there's witches everywhere, right? So yeah. I was just very inspired by that. And I'm like, the big question is, you start digging deep into that and you realize, well, you know, some people escaped, so, you know, and some people managed to, you know, get out of the being hung and worse. So you know, everybody likes revenge, and so I knew there was, you know, there has to be a little bit of a reckoning, if you will.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to see where this goes, because I'm super into witches, and I actually had a dream last night. So excited for this chat that I ended up going to school and I found out that I was a witch. So I was completely inspired by your story. So that's how much I'm like into it.
We're all wearing black, so we're good, I think.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think we all got the memo. We all got the memo. Okay, so Marianna and Fabiana, what's it like working together with Dan to bring this story to life? Like, do you discuss the colors with each other? Like, I know Dan designed the characters, so how did you take his designs and what was that process like as you all developed the characters and the visuals for this world?
Okay. Honestly, it's an honor working with Dan, and I already knew his work, and when Wilma offered me to work with him, I was so excited. I was instantly fascinated by this story and its eerie atmosphere, and Dan was really good at helping me in conveying the right mood. The original characters came from, the original concept for the characters came from Dan, and I tried to them justice in the page, filtering them throughout my style.
When Boom reached out with Raven's test pages, I was beyond excited by the chance to work with Marianna and Dan. And I was thrilled. Oh my God. I still cannot properly believe it, even though we're at issue number 3. But yeah, so we discussed color at first. So we knew we didn't want to overly render Marianna's drawings because they are so fresh that excessive rendering wouldn't work. So we decided to focus on color palettes and kind of bending the palette towards eerie atmospheres or realistic colors according to the scenes that we were approaching.
I love it. The colors are beautiful, but like, you're right. At the same time, I get this like sort of creepy vibe, but the colors, like they really work together. And it's this like wonderful, excuse me, it's this wonderful witchy like feast for my eyes. And so I'm excited to see more. So Dan, that brings me back to you. You mentioned Salem earlier. So you mentioned you did a little bit of research, but how much research have you done on the Salem Witch Trials to help with the backstory? And have you been to Salem?
I have not been to Salem, but the good news is, we made up an imaginary New England town called Crab's Eye. And if you've ever been to any of like the New England towns, they have the best names for their cities. I mean, they're just so peculiar and interesting and quirky that something like Crab's Eye feels like it fits in there automatically. And by doing that, we can take all of the best parts of the Salem Witch Trials and maybe bend it and fictionalize it just a little bit and just enough to suit what we need to do in this story, and make some enhancements and take some stuff away. So it's kind of neat to do that. I've been all over New England, but I've never been to Salem. Maybe I'm too scared to go.
I mean, yeah, I haven't been, but I definitely want to go. It was actually on the list of places to visit because apparently they do Halloween up. So I've heard
they have an amazing museum there, a witch museum that I'd love to go to. I'm really, I don't know, I'm into all these occult books, and you know, I'm a bibliophile, so I'm you know, I love this sort of thing, and the research is fun. It's not work. It's something I always been interested in.
Isn't it the best when work is not actually work? You're just getting to do something that you just enjoy. That's so fantastic. I'm
loving it. And to speak on the art and the color, when you pick up the first issue, the color kind of reflects, you know, if you're going someplace new, your expectations are kind of up in the air. And then as the story progresses, the color gets a little bit darker and moodier, and you get kind of sucked into this world. And you know, we can't do that unless we have a great art team. And I'm looking at the art team right now, and you've obviously read the first issue, and it's like looking at Vicky and Wilma. I mean, it's kind of similar. It's kind of interesting that it played out that way.
I love it. It's you know, everything happens for a reason, and just you get this like amazing mixture of the right people for the right project, and I'm just I'm just in awe of what you guys are doing. So I can't wait for the next issue.
Thanks, Breanna.
All right.
Yeah, I saw Marianna's work on Instagram first, I believe, a long time ago, and I was, you know, she just, not only does she do great comic books, but she also does fantastic, like just like vignettes of characters, or almost like fashion pieces. And I love, I know it sounds strange, but I love fashion, and she just knocks it out. I mean, if you don't follow her on Instagram, you have to follow her on Instagram. And the same with Fabiana. They're both incredible artists. So
wonderful. So speaking of the art that you both do, my question is, what specific tools do you use when you're drawing and inking and coloring? Like, what mediums do you like to work with? And how would you both describe your art style?
I work with Photoshop, and I draw all my page digitally on an entrusted tablet. For Ravens, I try to step out of my comfort zone, and I work in a style that follows realistic proportions, but has some of freshness to the line work.
I work digitally as well. I use a Wacom Cintiq and a tablet PC. I would describe my style probably as versatile, or maybe fluid, because I like to bend both color and rendering according to the artwork that the artist has done on a comic, and according to the plot and genre of the story. So if we're looking towards a heavy or grainy style, or maybe light and colorful, so I really like to be versatile.
I love it. You're both so talented, and I always want to know like what somebody uses to bring out their art, and it's just, oh, that's so cool. And I wouldn't be able to do anything digitally to save my life. So the fact that you guys are making this beautiful book this way, I'm floored. Seriously, it's gorgeous. Okay. Yeah. Next question is for Dan. What kind of magic do the Ravens practice? And were you inspired at all by any Wiccan practices?
Yeah, I had a girlfriend years and years ago who was big into Wicca, and so I knew nothing about it before she and I you know, had a relationship. So it's kind of, obviously the Ravens come off quite, maybe they even look like the bad guys per se, but their magic is Wiccan based, and who they are called the survivors, basically the people that were behind, in this case, the Crab's Eye Witch Trials, which is basically the Salem Witch Trials in a sense. That's more of a dark magic. That's more seated in like the dark occult. So you'll see as the story goes on. I mean, we hope to be doing this for a while. We'll see how the magic looks different, how it appears different, and how it affects everybody around them, and characters' personalities. So it's fun. There's spells. I don't know if there's going to be any cauldrons per se, but there might. You never know.
Oh, I'm so excited. Again, like, I love witches. I love Wiccan storylines, and I'm just so excited to see new types of magic or new spells or how things work within the world. So I like that last page had me hooked.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my gosh, what? And I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
and we don't overdo it either. It's not like over the top, like crazy, pyrotechnics or anything. It's very under the radar sort of things. Like even when Wilma first starts to demonstrate her powers, she doesn't even realize what's happening, but this stuff is manifesting within her. The ravens will at one point almost unlock something in her. I don't want to give too much away, but it's all this stuff is pretty subtle, and I'm fortunate that I saw it immediately in Marianna's work, that she gets all those nuances. So it's a real treat for me.
Wonderful. Okay, so final question for everybody. I'm going to start with Marianna and Fabiana. Do you think that witches exist, and do you believe in magic?
Of course, we are witches ourselves.
Love it.
Love that. Yeah, same. Okay, perfect. Dan, what about you? Do you believe that witches exist?
I just saw the movie not too recently, the Witch, and that's pretty terrifying. I'm up for it. I think I'd like to live in a world where they do exist. There's so much we can't explain. And now looking at these two, I mean, we have confirmation. So there you have it.
Ooh, all right. Well, this whole story is such a cool, spooky, witchy concept. I totally can't wait to see what happens to the Ravens and Wilma next. Dan, Marianna, Fabiana, thank you all so much for your time. And to those of you watching, be sure to pick up an Unkindness of Ravens #1 in stores now.